Man, all is good in the world. Clipse are back, one of my favourite rap duos of all time. And they've come through, my friends. They have come through. It's all good. It is all good. In case you weren't aware, which I think some of you might not have been, but it's okay. Some of the younger folks, can't believe I have to say that now. Some of the younger folks may not have been aware of the brilliance of Clipse in the 2000s. That run they were on with those mixtapes, and Lord willing, Hell Hath No Fury. I know Till the Casket Drops isn't as acclaimed as some of their other work, but it's worth mentioning that too. Like that's a run right there. That they didn't miss really. The quality was so high, and then Pusha T goes solo for a while. Malice kind of ditches rap for a bit, does some more gospel type stuff. And I always said this when Pusha was solo. He had some amazing tracks, some really good albums too, but he just wasn't rapping the same solo. The albums weren't the same. The quality wasn't anywhere near as good as what we were getting on those Clipse albums. And now we're here with Let God Sort 'Em Out. And I just think he's back at the top of his game again, with Malice coming through and absolutely stealing the show on some of these tracks as well, by the way. Like, don't write him off. He is killing it on some of these tracks. And the whole thing comes together fantastically. This is definitely one of the best albums of the year. It has lived up to all the hype I had. And I think a lot of people feel the same. The hype people were having here was super high, and I think it's living up for a lot of folks. The Birds Don't Sing opens the album out in a stunning way, man. This is an absolute gorgeous song with heartbreaking, emotional lyrics coming from Malice and Pusha T here about the loss of, I think, both of their parents. I think both of them passed away in a really short period of time. I think I listened to an interview recently where they were talking a little bit about that. And yeah, dealing with that is really difficult. And of course, they really lay out the emotions brilliantly here in such a stunning way. And to open an album out like this is kind of wild, because like usually you finish an album with this. You finish the album with the sad song, you finish the album with the emotional, heartbreaking track. But they start it out this way, and I think it's a really great way to do it. John Legend as well, in case, again, people only know him for All of Me. Like, this guy was always killing it on rap features. He's collaborated with Common, he's collaborated with The Roots. Like, he fits in so nicely on these types of songs, and he really, really puts out a beautiful performance on that chorus. Really stunning. And that one line which I wrote down too, where he Malice, I think it is, that says, "I love my two sons. What's the code for your phone?" That's hard. Like, especially if you are somebody that's lost somebody in your own life. And that's one of the really like stressful things that comes with it. Their phone, and how to access all of the photos or all of those memories that might be stored in there. It's such a pain to do. And I find this line to be so brilliantly like full of so many different like ways to look at it, because you do have to figure out what their password is. It's really, really difficult, man. And I finding out that it's "I love my two sons," that must have hit hard for them both. Like their dad having that as their password, man. That's just track one, and it's already insanely powerful. It's insanely good with the lyrics and the rhymes and the wordplay with some of the parts. And then you get friggin' Chains and Whips just completely just bulldozers through. What a transition into this one. This beat is so cold, man. It's so friggin' cold. It's got a kind of like dirty beat, and it makes you pull like that. Ooh, the stank face when you hear it. Ooh. And then of course, Pusha Malice coming through. Kendrick towards the end of the song is outrageous on this track. Some of the lines I quite like initially, where he's talking about like therapy made him realize he doesn't care. The hip hop has died again. He's going to give all his money to Rakim. But then he just goes into this like insane flow, and the rhyme scheme that he randomly pulls out is that he's just cut. Well, he doesn't randomly pull it out. He clearly calculated it and put it together crazy. But just going from that like gen thing that he does, and wow. And this is a thing for me sometimes, like with rappers who pull out impressive rhyme schemes. Like, it can be great and it can be cool, but sometimes it might just be full of random stuff being thrown together and the actual lines don't make sense. It's just there for the sake of having that scheme and for the sake of being an impressive technical rapper. But, you know, the actual content or the punchlines aren't all that great. But Kendrick here, like, what the hell, man? The two-time Gemini with the genocide. I'm generous, however you want it. I'll be the gentle kind, gentleman, and gangsters connect. The agenda of mine. This shit gets gentrified. What the hell, man? And then he says as well, every song is a book of Genesis. I generate residuals get off my genitals. They say I couldn't reach Gen Z. There's just so much that goes together here, and it flows really well. His delivery is fantastic. It makes sense. I think that Gen Z line is really good as well. I don't know when he wrote this, but particularly now, considering how much bigger he's gotten since the Super Bowl and the beef, and considering how like young people are really like fully into Kendrick now and on the train. I don't know when he wrote that, but I think that line's pretty good, to be honest, and makes sense for it to come out now, considering the year he's had. Yeah, amazing stuff, obviously. Tyler on POV, that's a full circle moment for Tyler. You know he was playing those Clipse albums when he was a kid. He's got that Pharrell affiliation, like the Neptunes affiliation as well. The nerd obsession that he's always talked about in his like interviews and stuff. Like, you know for a fact he was playing these Clipse albums when he was growing up. And to be on this album must be a huge moment for him. You could tell like this would be like a dream moment. And honestly, it makes so much sense that he's on here. Like, if he was 10 years older, he'd have been on Lord Willin'. Like, he'd have definitely been on Lord Willin'. He'd have been on Hell Hath No Fury. Like, you just know that Tyler was always made for a Clipse feature, 100%. And yeah, he sounds great here. He's snapping. I saw some people like doubting what he could do on this track, but I think he kind of silenced people very much straight away with this. He's really, really gnarly on this track and fits it all so well. Love that little like laid back, lazy hook that Push comes through with as well on this track. Again, it feels very classic Clipse to me, as well as classic Clipse. I want to say Inglorious. That track for me that beat is so like Hell Hath No Fury, completely down to a T. And it's interesting because a lot of this production is handled by Pharrell, but those albums back in the day from Clipse were obviously handled by the Neptunes, and Chad was part of that too, but clearly, as referenced on So Be It, the Neptunes aren't like here now, and something's not quite gone well between those two, I don't think, over the years. So yeah, kind of cool to see that. Because I will say about the production across this album generally is that I think maybe the flair isn't quite there in the same way that it was back in the day. I think some of those excellent beats were insanely fun and bouncy and buoyant back in the day. And I think this album opts for a bit maybe of a more colder sound, a bit more of a direct sound. And you can clearly tell that there isn't that same like Neptunes sound across this thing. I just saw Inglorious particularly stood out to me as being one that, you know, did feel like it was classic Clipse. That's not to hate on the production at all, particularly with friggin' So Be It on this album. That the sample is outrageously good. It just completely steals the whole song. The flows are incredible as well from both Malice and Push. Some of the lines are funny on this track. Some of like the one-liners and the little similes that they come through with I quite enjoy, like God did Khaled. It's a bit silly, but I quite like what they're doing with that. Yeah, just a really like immaculately produced song that nearly got taken away from us, because on the first day this album came out, it was a different beat, but they managed to come through very last minute and get the original track on the album. Thank God, because that other track, I did hear it and it just didn't hit the same for me. Like, it just didn't feel right without that kind of like Arabian influence coming through. So cool, so cold, and yeah, very addictive, this beat. I feel like I'm going to be running this track back a lot because it is just so bloody good in terms of the production. And then of course at the end you get that little Travis call out, which I think was quite surprising for a lot of people. He's explained in interviews that he doesn't really trust Travis. He's a bit snaky. He doesn't really pick sides. He will kind of people please, or maybe pretend he's just like on this side and the other side or whatever. I don't really know the ins and outs of all that. As of recording this video though, we have the Jack Boys album, and there was a mini little reference to Pusha T on there. So Travis has kind of bit back ever so slightly in a very lame way, though, and basically just calls him old and doesn't say anything else. But it is Travis Scott. He's not that kind of rapper. I would be very surprised to see a beef come through from this. I don't know if Pusha T has really a lot to reply with. But I just kind of want to throw that in there because as of recording this video, that's where we're at. So maybe once this video's out, we could be seeing different things. So just keep that in mind that I'm not from the future yet. I don't know what's going to happen here, but I don't know, man. Is Pusha T really going to try and take down Travis Scott? Like, he's just not competition in that kind of way. He's just not that kind of rapper. I don't know. Mike Tyson Blow to the Face was a track I wasn't too sure on at first because I was a bit like, I don't know about that hook. But then I realized and it kind of hit me and I was like, oh, wait a minute. It's a double entendre here because, of course, Mike Tyson did blow people in the face, literally, as a boxer. But also, it's friggin' Clipse, isn't it? The Snow line that came after made me go, Mike Tyson had a drug addiction. That's what they're talking about here. For God's sake, I was like, oh man, they've done it again. Like it's hilarious because like they find so many different ways to talk about drugs. Like I get it. Like I was getting a bit bored of it with Pusha Solo stuff where I was like, okay, you don't need to rap about this all the time. But you kind of have to hand it to them and say that they know how to always like bring up these lines in a creative way, and they just throw them out and come out with these hilarious little one-liners, and you're just kind of like, God damn, like I'm kind of letting you get away with this one, but you are so creative with bringing these lines into play and throwing them around and playing with them and stuff. You kind of got to hand it. That like hard piano beat is exceptional though. Love that beat on this track. Also want to mention Fico with Stove God Cooks on the hook. That's a great hook right there. I was very impressed with that. A lot of people were very much disappointed that he didn't come through with an actual rap feature because he's pretty known for his rap features more than his actual own work, actually. But yeah, I mean, for what he did deliver on the track, I wasn't disappointed at all. I can see why people wanted a feature, but he sounds great here. And I think that's one of the things on the album that I think I want to bring up as a maybe like minor critique is that aside from this hook and aside from the other hooks I've mentioned already, like the hook game from Pharrell, I think is a little shaky at times. Like he comes through on about 2 or 3 songs. I actually like him on All Things Considered. I think he fits there. But on So Far Ahead particularly, I just think his voice is really shrill. I just think that shrill falsetto that he's going with is not flattering at all. It cuts through the atmosphere of the rest of the track too. It's like the track kind of comes to a halt and then he just kind of comes in to sing. And look, Pharrell hooks on Clipse albums has been there since the dawn of time. He's all over Lord Willing and he sounds awesome. So it's nothing against Pharrell as a singer because he's proven with Clipse, he's done it over and over again and sounds fantastic and fits those beats perfectly, fits the vibe really well. But I just think on this album, particularly on So Far Ahead, maybe the final track too, I want to say as well, a little shaky, kind of cuts through the rest of the track for me. I think they could have probably picked a singer that maybe fit, or Pharrell could have just done a different vocal style. I don't know. Only actual main critique though, because like I say, the actual content and the substance and the bars and the delivery from Pusha Malice as well. Pusha Mala and Pushis. Who knows? But yeah, I love what they're doing here. Like there's so much conviction in what they say. They let you hear every line. They don't they don't gloss over anything. They just want to hear. You want you to hear each line. Every line's sold really well. There's so much like energy coming through on the rapping as well. And let's not forget, man, Malice is like 52. Pusha is pushing 50. Like, these are some old guys in the game, and they sound this good. Like, I can't quite fathom it. They did a Tiny Desk concert on the day of the release too. Seen clips of that. Clips. But yeah, they look great as well. Like, these guys should not be this good at this age. They're in that kind of Black Thought Nas conversation now of these like older rappers who are just killing it so late into their career. and not sounding a day older than they were when they were like 25. Crazy stuff. And speaking of Nas as well, he pops up on the title track and Chandeliers. Yeah, his verse is great here. I really like what he brings to the table as well. Like that flip into that more triumphant beat. At first I was like, this kind of reminds me a little bit of Euphoria from Kendrick Lamar, that beat. But yeah, that part, it is really nice little transition. Nas is flowing like crazy. Gotta hand it to the man. They've got the features locked down brilliantly, like John Legend, Kendrick, Nas, friggin' Tyler, like all really great here. Stove, God Cooks, like, yeah, they've just nailed everything. They nailed it all. The rollout was done really well too. I think that generated a lot of hype, and for whatever core sort of numbers they're going to get, for whatever like raw numbers or whatever they're going to get from this album, I think has been maximized and, you know, pushed to the highest it could have gotten with the way they rolled this album out. Because Clipse are like a bit of a legacy act. I think more people who are older will be caring about this album, really, like those people that maybe loved the 2000s era of hip-hop, maybe like 30s, 40s now. Like that kind of age range, I think, was the target audience for this album. But I think the way they rolled this album out with the interviews, Tiny Desk, everything was done so well that I think a newer, younger audience have now paid more attention to this group than they would have. So gotta hand it to them with that. And it's delivered as well. Like, I think that's the thing here. It sounds great. The rapping's great. The production is great. Everything is on fire, top notch. I think even those little minor critiques, and I think maybe some of the beats could have hit a bit harder in places, just like I think they would have back in the day. But like, that's not really taking much away here. I still think this is a great album. And yeah, proves that these guys are definitely in the GOAT conversation when it comes to rap duos. 100%. 8.5 out of 10 from me. That has got to be where I'm at. Love it. Going to be playing this one a lot. Definitely one of my favorites of the year. Definitely in conversation for rap album of the year as well. Not sure. It could be McKinley Dixon still, or maybe John Michelle and Anthony James. Love those ones. Clipping. Love that album too. There's a lot of ones in the conversation, but this is also in that conversation too now. And that is it from me. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Do subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video, share it around, comment, let me know your thoughts. And then if you're feeling super generous, maybe support me over on the Patreon page, the membership page, those kinds of things to help this channel keep going. That's it from me. Have a good day. Hopefully you like this album as much as I do. Let me know in the comments what you think. Goodbye.